We have an announcement of closed session. Oh, sorry. Could you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I report a closed session. In closed session, the board took action to issue a notice of release to temporary certificated employee, identification 7600002134, pursuant to Education Code 4494, Subdivision B, effective at the end of the 2015-2016 school year, and directed superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. And we'll call this as follows: ayes 5, nays 0, abstentions 0. With that, make a motion for adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Tonight we have several special recognitions. We have a full house here. That's really nice to see. I want to start with the special recognition of TMS and TOW, Destination Imagination.
Well, no, actually, I would just like to introduce Bjorn Avila and Ina Wu, and there are the amazing teachers on our campus, our science teachers that coordinated the Thurston teams. So maybe if we start with them, they could talk a little bit about what the regional competition looked like 2 weeks ago. So Bjorn and Ina, yes, to the microphone.
Hello, yes. 2 weeks ago on February 27th, Thurston Middle School hosted the regional tournament for Destination Imagination, and the regional tournament encompasses Orange County and San Diego County. We had 62 teams competing in an all-day long event from 7:30 in the morning until 7 at night, and I'm very excited to say that Thurston has 4 teams this year, and 3 of our teams are going on to the state tournament level. I want to thank Ms. Sahlberg for her tremendous support of hosting the tournament. I want to thank the school board and our whole school district for the tremendous support we've had. It went really well. People were thrilled to be here. The tournament was a great success, and I'm hoping we can host the tournament again next year. Thank you very much.
Do we have certificates?
Yes, we do.
I'm going to be introducing our Thurston teams, and we'll be calling the names. Please hold your applause until the entire team is up here. The first team is the Rolling Tones. Josh Foley, Kyle Herkins, Jeff Herkins, who's not here tonight, Haley Parnas, and Elliot Schaefer.
Haley.
A favor and turn around and face the audience. In case anyone wants to take pictures. Thank you. Okay, now you guys.
Okay, and for the next team, the brilliant Boom Band Bananas. Again, please hold your applause for Evan Henry, Joe Hovanesian, Jared Moy, and Miles Reel. Come on up.
Miles, congratulations.
Thank you. And Jared.
Hang on a second, please.
Jared.
Jared, congratulations. Joseph, congratulations. Congratulations.
So you know the routine
Same
right
thing,
now.
turn around, we'll post photograph.
Okay, Thank you.
Our next team, the Tactical Nerds. Brandon Britt, Zach Cheskelson, Odin Flores, Trey Ovens, Mac Pardoon, and Alan Yu. Come on up.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Trey. Congratulations.
Zach?
And Zach,
Zach?
last.
Okay.
Congratulations. Jake.
Okay,
Around the post.
stand up. Come on, all right, face the audience.
Everybody step
There
there,
you
get the
go.
photo.
Great job, boys. And last but not least, the Hidden Cams. Clara Becker, Jordan Troutwine, Grace Wilson, and Hannah Wright.
Hang it up, don't go anywhere.
Great.
Grace, congratulations. Check in first, turn around, let the folks take some photos.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Girls rock.
Thank you.
So, Top of the World has been participating in DIAC for the last 2 years. This year we had 3 teams that competed in the regional tournament, and we did have one of our teams did qualify for states. Still deciding if they're going to tackle that endeavor or not, but we'll know shortly if they're going to take their talents to Riverside. But again, it was incredible. Like I said, it's been 2 years, and the students have loved the process. Special thanks, Mrs. Thomas isn't here tonight, but she's been our teacher on site, has been handling all the instant challenges, meeting once a week before school, and they've met outside of the school day at least once or twice a week since November, getting ready for the tournament this past weekend. So it was wonderful. I was there to be able to catch part of their competitions. It was incredible, and I appreciate it. It was amazing. You represented TOW so well. Along with the rest of the staff at TOW, appreciate all your hard work and your dedication. So we'll recognize you now. So I know not all the team members are here, but we'll announce all participants from the teams. So our first team is the Fearless Friends. We have Riley Beeson, Shannon Hackett, Hannah Kaiser, Elena Siebold, Kaylin Stringham, and Bianca and Raquel Temsbury.
There you go. And you are? Elena, congratulations. Congratulations, you are? Kayla, stay with us. And Bianca, thanks for so much. Okay, hang up a little. Raquel, I'm so sorry.
There you go, okay.
Okay, everybody stand in front, just 1 second, let's get some photos.
They get really good photo. There you go.
Teacher.
Yeah. They into Girls Rock.
The TOW teams were definitely very girl-headed, so again, it's incredible. So the next team, the Flying Frogs, I know a couple of them are here. But we have Kira Hunhausen, Mae Chapman, Sydney Alderson, Julie Vandervon, Kennedy Wilson, Finley Greengard, and Evelyn Laser.
Are you made?
Right center, big smile. Cool, more photos. I'll give you the photos.
Excellent job. And again, that team, the Fearless Frogs did the Fearless Friends did the Fine Arts Challenge. The last team, the Flying Frogs, so there's a lot of F's going on. They did beat in the technical challenge, qualifying, 4th place finish, qualifying for state. So incredible job. And last but not least, we have our TOW Hackers, representing the boys. Dylan Jefferson, Jacob Cruz, Dylan Newberry, and Tyler Polino. be the technical
You're
check.
Dylan. Congratulations, Dylan. Good for you. You must be checking. Congratulations. I want you to stand back here so you folks can get a good photograph.
All right.
So again, a big round of applause for all the students participating. Good luck to those teams that are going to be participating in the state tournament on first weekend of April, I believe. That's a great way to spend your spring break.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank all you guys. I think you have the Indian student. Yes, you have the Indian. Question three, same thing with these in your
It's okay Mr. Garcia.
Our topic was circular motion.
Hi, Alice.
So,
So now we have our Laguna Beach High School Model United Nations program. Mr. Hertzfeld, did you want to introduce the group?
Sorry? Introduce the group? Oh, sure, thank you. Good evening. It's a pleasure pleasure to be here to introduce one of the programs that, well, of all the programs at the high school, I think this one really epitomizes the mission statement of the school, which is maximizing learning in a supportive and caring environment so that all graduates are ready for college, career, and global citizenship. And I think that this group really epitomizes that Model United Nations program. And I'm going to throw it over to John Shen and the students and Jonathan Todd and let the students tell you what's going on with Model United Nations.
Well, first of all, I just got the opportunity to begin teaching this class when Brom Friesen retired, so back in 2001. I was a student of his, so it's been great to just have the opportunity. I will say I've been doing this for now, it's close to 14 years, and it's never been better as far as the level of kids we have, the work ethic of the kids. And for me, it's my, my passion to be able to teach this class and see these kids grow, and they've been fantastic. And then, like I said, the program has grown, and so Mr. Shen has joined me. Mr. Shen has been an incredible addition to our class, and basically, I'll let him say a few words, but just you're going to get to hear from some great students today.
Thank you. I don't have much to add to that. I'm just so proud to be part of this program. And I joined this program 9 years ago, and it seems so fast. It's almost been a decade. And we're seeing some incredible growth. And here tonight we're going to present some young men and young women who really embody our vision and our mission here at LBHS MUN. So. First, let's want to introduce our Secretaries General, the leaders of our program, Alice and Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie Madavi, and I'm Co-Secretary General of Model United Nations this year. Since Alex in my freshman year, we've witnessed our delegation grow over twice its original size, going from about 30 kids to 80 now. As well, our high school has revived and led Thurston's MUN program, and most of those dedicated middle schoolers end up joining in the high school, which strengthen our high school delegation's overall skill and caliber. And out of all of my academic and elective experiences at LBHS, MUN has shaped my future goals the most. So I'd like to thank Mr. Todd, Mr. Shen, and the district for providing us with such great opportunities. And I'd like to recognize my peers for working so hard.
Hi, my name is Alex Renagi, and I've been the Co-Secretary General with Ellie for the past 2 years. And so over the years, we've been really excited because our conference, which we host every year, has grown from around 40 kids during Ellie and I's freshman year to now close to 500. So, and that conference will be happening this weekend. So if you guys are interested, you can stop by. It'll be starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday in the big gym. So that's really exciting. And on a personal note, like Ellie said, I think that MUN has definitely been something that has impacted me, not just in high school, but in the present or in the future. I definitely do not think I would have all the opportunities that I've had without MUN, and I'm really grateful for everything. I'm grateful for the district and for the funds that we get from our school, and especially to Mr. Shen and Mr. Todd, who have really made this such a great experience. So, thank you.
And another facet of our program is our teaching global citizenship. So as many of you probably read in the press releases and local news, we have a charitable foundation attached to our Model UN program, and we have two students here who have really taken that to the next level. So I'm going to introduce Rose and Grant.
Hi, I'm Rose Niermeyer. I'm a senior at Laguna Beach High School, and this is my second year as president of the LBHS MUN Foundation. Over the last few years, we've drastically grown in size. A few years ago, Mr. Shen was on a safari in Kenya and happened upon this tribe, and we have developed a very close relationship with the school in this tribe through a wonderful teacher there named Gladys. Now, 2 years ago, we raised enough money to buy desks for one of the classrooms at this school, and We saw a video of the students unloading all the desks off the bus, and it was just a beautiful thing to see how much of an impact we could have on these students. So since then, we took on a more ambitious goal. We are currently fundraising $15,000 to purchase a wind solar generator for the school. Through this, we will give them running water, electricity, and so many new learning opportunities that these students have never had the experience to partake in. We also sell bracelets for the women in the tribe in order to provide them with a substantial income, because many of them, they rely on tourism, but they sell these bracelets for what would be the equivalent of $2 US, and we will sell them here for about $20, and they're beautiful pieces of artwork, and we feel that these women's hard work really needs to be showcased, and we also want the children of the community to be able to see the positive impact that learning can have on them. This year, we had a district-wide coin drive that many of you probably heard about at the elementary schools and the high school, and we were able to substantially increase our following through social media, through newspapers, and we raised close to $4,000 in our last fundraiser. So we're over halfway there in our goal for the purchase of the generator.
Good evening, I'm Grant Richardson. Well, first of all, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be here tonight. Well, I do have to thank Mr. Shen and Mr. Todd for their invaluable advice from my last 4 years in my MUN career. We should not only applaud the delegates here this evening for going above and beyond the call of duty, but to the many who went unrecognized but constantly work diligently to be the best delegates that they can be. Through the help of the amazing Mr. Hertzfeld and wonderful Ms. Pilon, I've won a $1,000 grant from Disneyland's Dreamers and Doers program, which recognize high school students that positively contribute to their community. As the treasurer of the LBHS MUN Foundation, I realized how ambitious Rose's and the team's goal was to raise $15,000 for the wind solar power generator for the Mazawa Village Schoolhouse in Kenya. For that reason, I asked LBHS to donate my entire grant of $1,000 towards the foundation.
And finally, the highlight of our calendar year, our school year for our program is a big trip that we take. So in the past, we've traveled to Washington, D.C., New York City, and to university-organized Model UN conferences. So to tell you about that experience, we have some of our stars from this year's trip to Chicago, Hannah and Joey.
Good evening, board members. My name is Hannah Burnett, and my partner, Joey, and I, we won Best Delegate, or in layman's terms, first place at the University of Chicago. I've been in this program for 4 years, and I want to thank Mr. Todd and Mr. Shen for taking a chance on a Secretary General's young sister who really wanted to go on this trip, and through them, I've gone to every single year, and every year it just gets better and better. And this year was definitely by far the best because we won, but also because they were the most true to the UN aspect, and the fact that they focused on the more diplomatic side of the UN, which is the most accurate. Not everything is point-based. It mostly happens behind the scenes. And it was probably the best trip in all senses because they also gave us a book instead of a gavel, and I think that was quite useful because it continues our education outside of the room. We can learn more about international policy through our readings. When we were there, we also visited the Art Institute of Chicago, which is, for an art junkie like me, one of the best things we could have done. You got to see so many different types of work, from contemporary to Impressionism, and I would like to thank them for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, and now let's pass it on to Joel.
Hi, I'm Joey Urbana, and as Hannah said, we were able to win at the University of Chicago, Munich. It was a very fun conference, but I'll give you some details into it. In opposition to the conferences we have here, where there may be 30 people per committee, there were 300 people in our committee. And so we were competing against 150 other countries, all looking to win the same goal, but really we were trying to preserve the oceans as it was. And it was really an interesting experience. As Hannah said, it was a more holistic approach to the conference, and we got to go into resolution writing and a lot more diplomacy, where we were able to talk with countries such as Saudi Arabia and Iraq about issues where normally a Bulgarian country wouldn't talk. But on the other side of things, in terms of sightseeing, I think something that I really enjoyed was the Museum of Science and Industry. Because if you look at the exterior, it was built for the Columbian Exhibition. But on the interior, it has modern things such as a plane. They actually managed to get inside, and an actual coal mine. So I found every aspect of this trip to be absolutely amazing. I'm so happy I was invited on it because it was an unforgettable experience. Thank you.
We have some certificates for the students if Mr. Lansing, the president, and either Mr. Shen or Mr. Todd would have your students come forward for those.
Todd, Mr. Shen, you want to come up and help me out here? I'll make sure I get the right person. This is going to be easy. We're going to start here.
This is for Alex Renagi. Ali Madavi. These are our Secretary Generals, both seniors, but of the people that spoke tonight, we have 2 more seniors, a sophomore and a junior. And again, their leadership has, kind of helped them become who they are, and they'll carry the torch when you guys leave. Rose Niemeyer. Grant Richardson. Hannah Burnett. And then Joey Ravenna.
Can I just say one thing about you guys? These guys are fabulous. I've had personal experience, but this program to me is an example of the kinds of things you can do in high school that have a positive impact on a young adult, into the entire aspect of their life. It helps them see what colleges they may be, what issues. It helps them become a world citizen, and it helps them to be an excellent public speaker. You heard some people tonight. I mean, this is impressive speaking. I used to love public speaking. I don't think I was at this level. This is amazing. Especially as I'm getting older, the memories. These are some impressive young men and women. You kind of agree on that? So I want to thank Mr. Todd, Mr. Shen, and the wonderful Mr. Hertzfeld. I hadn't heard that before. Thank you. Okay, we'll give them a chance to go out. Thanks again, guys, ladies.
Thank you.
Our next recognition is the Long Beach. Many years ago, Laguna Beach girls basketball, our wonderful, successful girls basketball team. So, ladies, can come up.
Got your coach here?
Oh, there he is. All right.
Again, great. Hi, back.
It's a great pleasure to introduce the girls basketball team. They had a fantastic season this year that they'll tell you the details about, but it started off in the Staples Centers, and they got some great experiences. And I personally got to almost watch, well, I did watch a record being set for three-point shots, but she made one more that I didn't see. So I'll let Coach Lewis tell you all about the wonderful season of our girls basketball program. Coach Mark Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the school board. First of all, I want to thank you for your support. I know you approved a lot of the activities that we are able to participate in, so I thank you for your support. Mr. Hertzfeld has been an avid supporter of ours all year, as well as our athletic director, Ted Clark, so I really felt a lot of great support this year, and I know the girls really appreciate it. Like I said, I think it was about 5 years ago I was before this board. Many of you, some of you are new, some are still here, when I accepted the job to be the head coach for the for the girls basketball team, and we endured a winless season. And since then, with the hard work of the girls and the coaches that I've been able to and fortunate to work with, we have put Laguna Beach girls basketball on the map. We are a very well-respected program around the county, to the point where we try to schedule games and teams like, no, not so much. I don't really want to play you guys. So of course we're not up in the echelon with Mater Dei and all that, but we do very well for ourselves. This year was, again, every year we seem to just surpass the goals that we've set and the records we've broken on the year previous. So this year, as Mr. Hertzfeld said, we got to start our season off in the Staples Center, beating Dana Hills by 1 point on a last-second shot. We followed that up with a trip to Catalina, where we prevailed over their high school, and then we flew off to Hawaii over the Christmas break. And I know, feeling sorry for them, aren't you? And proceeded to win that tournament as well, and really it's been that kind of propelled us into the next round of our season, which was league. And it's been a goal, certainly I know of my seniors that have been with me for their entire career, to, as they say, I want to put another number on that banner. So the girls basketball banner in the gym doesn't have very many numbers when compared to other sports. So it looks awfully lonely up there with just the one number. So the girls wanted to change that and double that, and they've been working hard on that ever since they've been in the program. And we knew that we would have to go through Estancia, the 3-time defending league champs. They beat us here at home the first time. And sure enough, we went over to their place where we had never won, and the girls put on a display of perfection, and we completely shut them down. Won in their house when I think they walked in expecting that we're just going to walk over this Laguna team we do every time anyway, and snatched a share of the league crown to secure the league title for us. And then we had to come here on senior night and finish our business against Calvary Chapel, which they did. So league champions for only the second time in the 43-year history of the girls basketball program. We have made it. We've gone to CIF every year in the last 4 years, advancing to the second round each of the last 3 years. We did very well again this year. Again, we broke more records. We had our first 20-win season this year in the history of the program, an 8-game winning streak, first time in the history of the program. We also got to witness, I think Mr. Hertzfeld alluded to it, 2 of our girls that have been with us, our 2 co-captains, Jackie Sennen and Alexandra Lewis, who broke records and will probably go down in the annals of Laguna Beach girls basketball history as 2 of the cornerstones of this program and of this era. Jackie broke the scoring record for the school. She was second in the county in scoring for this year. Alexandra Lewis broke the 3-point record, not only for the girls, but for the boys. She the last one she had to break for the boys was a single season record, which was previously held by her brother. So kind of a little bragging rights at home now. So and she was number 10 or 11 in the county in scoring. So we really, we really had an amazing season. Every girl participated in this. Every girl was key contributor in our success, from the first man down to the last. This is our second year in a row where we've endured 2 ACL injuries. Had to get through that, had to shuffle our lineup, and the girls just kept going. We just kept rolling. So I want to thank the parents for, of course, their support in allowing me to be in the lives of their daughters and have an influence on their daughters. I want to thank them for their support in fundraising, of course, because you don't get to do a lot of these fun things without fundraising, and for them being there and supporting the team, supporting their daughters in their balance of being a student athlete. But I know that Mr. Hertzfeld, I think, and Mr. Clark both said, hey, do you have a championship banner that you can display when you come to the school board? Well, not quite yet, but I think you see their donning shirts that display the fact that we are league champions. And really the applause goes to them, because they're the ones that put in the hard work. They're the ones that endured the time, the injuries, the sweat, the balance of the schoolwork, and giving up some of their free time and fun time to dedicate to themselves in this program. So congratulations. could just, Alexandra and Jackie just, they're our captains that have been with us program, the cornerstones of our program, they just wanna say a brief word, so thank you.
Hello, I'm Alex Woods.
And I'm Jackie Sutton.
We're both seniors, and as Coach Lewis said, we're the captains of the team. And I think our goal, along with the other senior who's been with us all 4 years, Ashley, was to put another year on that banner and to win league and take this small team and do something with it and make a name for ourselves in the county, which I think we have done pretty well. But I don't think that we could have asked for a better senior season. You know, each year we go through tough times, as Coach said, but we really come together each year, and I know this has been my favorite team experience. All the girls are, you know, we've become a family, and it's just been really fun to share this success with them. So,
yeah. And I just want to thank you all for taking the time to honor our accomplishments, and for allowing us to talk to you tonight. Definitely playing on the Laguna Beach High School basketball team has been one of the highlights of my high school, and I'll never forget my team. So, thank you again.
And thank you.
So I want to thank all you ladies for your work. I know some of you personally, you're great gals, and the rest of you I'm sure are wonderful. This is a great accomplishment for the school. She's very proud to have gotten that far. I remember the time when the wonderful Coach Lewis struggled. And he's built this up to be what it is today, and should all be very proud of that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay. Okay, our next presentation is the TMS Schools to Watch. So I think we have Jenny Salzberg back there.
Is there?
We have some teachers here with us.
Yes,
We
please come
have
forward.
Pretty Miss and Kathy Fu
And
and Bjorn and Ina.
I would just like to say before Mrs. Salberg starts, kudos to Mrs. Salberg, the team who is here tonight, and the team of teachers and classified at your school. You truly earned this recognition, and it was very fun to celebrate up in Sacramento with a few other middle schools, not a ton. There are over 23,000 middle schools in the nation, and this particular middle school is one of slightly over 400 that's been recognized in the nation. So kudos to Thurston Middle School. You guys rock.
Thank you so much. Leah, do you want to say a word or two?
I was gonna have Kathy talk about core academy
Great.
first.
So to be a Schools to Watch, you get recognized on 3 areas. One is being academically excellent. 2, developmentally responsive to our middle school students, which we are at Thurston. And 3 would be socially equitable on our campus. One of the things that we wrote about specifically this year was Core Academy, which we started last year, we implemented. And Leah and Kathy are 2 of the teachers that teach that class. So Kathy, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure, yeah. All right, so I may seem like a new face, but it's because I am new to the district this year. I am teaching 7th grade math currently at Thurston, and I'm loving this opportunity every single day. I love coming to work. So Core Academy, as you may or may not know, it's a wonderful elective that not only supports the students' academics, but also teaches them important life skills. There's a college unit, there's a job unit, there's even a financial literacy unit. And most importantly, the students feel supported by their teachers every day that they come into this classroom. So again, thank you for the support and thank you for having me here.
Great, thank you.
I was just gonna do it.
I was gonna take over now. I just want to thank Ms. Solberg and definitely the board for your continued support for Core Academy. We really appreciate the opportunity we think this program is working really well, and we appreciate the opportunity not only to implement it, but also to be able to go attend the Schools to Watch recognition luncheon, and it feels very validating to be one of the select few in the room. And also, we had the opportunity to present at the California League of Schools conference. We were accepted to present there, and that's always very nice too when other people are coming and listening, getting ideas to take back to their own schools. So we just want to thank you again for all the support. I just want to say thank you. It's just a great honor to accept this on behalf of Thurston because it takes everybody. You know, Patrick is here tonight somewhere with his daughter. It takes our maintenance, and I don't want to forget Todd or Roger or Eddie. It's our office staff that takes care of everybody on the campus. It's our campus supervisors that make a difference each and every day. It's our instructional aides that go above and beyond to support all students. It's each and every classified person on our staff, and it's our certificated teachers. I mean, like Bjorn and Ina being here tonight and continually going above and beyond and bringing new programs to our campus. But we couldn't do it without our parents or PTA or school power, and of course you guys. So I just want to say thank you so much. It's just a pleasure to be honored, so thank you.
I do want to present this plaque to the board. We've got a couple recognitions. Now, this program is a national program. It is recognizing middle schools that are at the very top, the very elite, the very top percentage of middle schools throughout the nation. It's an incredible thing to get this. It's a really big honor. So we have a certificate of recognition to the Laguna Beach Board of Education, which we will proudly display here from the state. And it's just an incredible honor. Good things just keep happening at Thurston Middle School and all our schools, to tell you the truth. So we're very proud of this, and I'm sure it'll be properly displayed. And I would like to make a motion to have one more special recognition if I could.
Second.
All in favor? You haven't heard it yet. It wouldn't trust me. We want to recognize Shireen Smith tonight for her award as superintendent. #1 superintendent in Orange County. It's a tremendous honor that she has earned well. We have a couple cards here.
My goodness.
Yeah. Just to let you know, the award is from the Association of California School Administrators of Orange County. In recognition of her work here. Of course, she's been here for 6 years and has done some tremendous things in our school district. It's noted that she has volunteered in the Rotary Club, Boys and Girls Club, Laguna Beach Community Coalition, and many, many more things. Over the years that Serena's been here, we have seen all 4 schools are distinguished schools. We have a blue ribbon high school, we have gold ribbon elementary schools, we've got an award after award. This is just another one tonight. She's done a fabulous job for us, and we're very pleased she's recognized at this time. She's done, I think, a wonderful job for us, and she's always done it to the highest moral and ethical standards, and we appreciate that. There will be a celebration on the 9th for all honorees, and from there will be a possible statewide person named at that time. So we congratulate you on this. Great honor.
May I say, I stand on the shoulders of everyone in the schools and in the community and in this room. This is an honor for all of us, not just for me. I feel it reflects the really hard work that we all do day in and day out as a team. So thank you all very much for the honor, and I give it right back to all of you.
Thank you, and moving on to our public comments on items not on the agenda. And I have a Keith Newberry.
Thank you very much. I feel a little bit like I've stepped into the principal's office, so excuse me if I'm a little nervous. I'm here to thank you for running the process for selection of the future superintendent. As I'm sure you know, this is a very important decision that is coming up that needs a lot of input from the community. And as the process has unfolded, I have seen that community input indeed has been sought. There have been surveys, there have been community meetings, and I'm sure untold hours have gone into taking the results of that process into account. Probably hundreds and thousands of hours if you count all the time from the community members, all the time from the school board, and all the time from the other people who are participating in this process. And I think also tonight we have seen, I mean, this school board process, this superintendent process is very competitive. We've seen the results of all these great competitive processes that are already running with our students. What a great thing to happen, all these accomplishments that we've seen. And I think the process will be similarly successful if it is based on merit and reason, which it appears it is. I saw the letter in the newspaper, that's why I came here tonight, about one of the candidates who has not made it through to one of the final rounds. My initial thought was, wow, there's got to be some really good candidates in this process, and I'm very enlightened by that thought. I am disappointed that one candidate has shown the poor judgment to kind of go around the process and create a publicity issue that's potentially divisive to the community when so much thought has already going into including the community and creating a process that's based on merit. I've been to a few school board meetings as a spectator, and there have been other speakers who have been before you who have said, please do things openly based on merit. Don't pay attention to hidden political agendas and other things that go on. And I think your process is paying attention to the right things and is not paying attention to these other things. And I think this letter to the editor is an example not of leadership but of gamesmanship. And the parents that I've spoken to are 100% behind merit in our schools, and I was just here to reinforce that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak in the public? Mr. Hoppe.
You old man, Herb.
It's good to see you, Mr. Hoppe.
My name is Bruce Hoppe. I'm a 94-year-old, 50-year resident of Laguna Beach and chairman of the Carlos Gathos Foundation, established in 1953, recognized by the federal government and the California government. In discussions with principal of Laguna Beach High School, I proposed a celebration of the 100-year historic legacy of this art colony of Laguna Beach. The visual and performing arts will be celebrated by a special commission designed by the high school art sculpture department, which will be awarded annually to students who best represent that historic legacy of the artist Number 2, I'm opposed as the international patron for the Surfing Federation and the California Surfing Association a Founders Prize. At the time, we had no competition coach for the high school surf team. As a board member of the National Scholastic Surfing Association, I proposed the Founder Award, and the coach said hopping had nothing to do with surfing in Laguna Beach. Well, Robert Coe was the instructor teacher, but he was also the president of the Western Surfing Association. And Brandon Faber was the coach for the Thurston School, and those two I proposed, and this was recognized by a proclamation by the school board. Not only that, but the surfing exchanges throughout the world that I've organized and administered on behalf of our surf team. When I submitted that to the principal, he said, the coaches say you had nothing to do with it. Yeah. Next was the physical fitness. On the second page, you'll see there that if you develop esteem for your body, the most beautiful of creations, you will not only respect that, but you will respect other persons and the environment and all the creatures of the environment. Putting up laws and calling the cops aren't going to stop youngsters from taking drugs. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. And that's because I keep myself physically fit. I respect my body. And we should be teaching that in school, not saying you'll go to prison, we'll call the cops, and all that sort of thing. On the third page, you'll see a proposal I made to Jim Brodsky, who is the advisor for the Russian Palette.
Mr. Hopping, your time is up. I'd like to extend you 30 seconds more to finish your thoughts.
All right. Number 1, we have the Impact Award of the General Education Association. I asked him to follow that up with different thoughts in the Russian Palette. He has yet to reply to me about that. That's part of the story. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on items not on the agenda? Okay, I'd like to move on to section 11, student representatives.
Good evening. My name is Dexter Russo. I'm a junior at Laguna Beach High School. Alex usually is the one who gives these. However, he's the senior class president, and I would like to be the senior class president next year, and so he said he'd give me the opportunity to speak in front of a distinguished group. So I'm going to get right to it. These ASB announcements: the Red Cross Blood Drive happens next Thursday from 7:30 to 1:30. It's a great cause. Opening night for Once Upon a Mattress starts this Friday and it goes on Saturday and Sunday. There's a track and field event on next Saturday. This is great. I'm an MUN as well, and we sell bracelets there, and different school functions happen there to help fundraise different clubs, so that's great. On April 8th, Powder Puff starts, which is like a girls' football, and the whole school gets into it, and it's great for the community because a lot of other people who aren't not like involved in school will come out just to see it. And then right after that is the Blacklight Dance, otherwise known as the Neo Dance. Yeah, those are the announcements. Thank you for letting me come out.
Thank you.
All right.
All you want to stay, you're absolutely welcome, we'd love it, but if you need to go study.
I gotta go there.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
On the MUN bracelets, do you guys have a website, or if we wanted to buy those, how would we go about buying those?
You could email Mr. Shen about that, because we don't have a website where we have like a website, but you can't purchase them on the website.
Okay, alright, great.
And we have a Facebook page for that too, so you can look that up.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we now have our LaBouffe representative.
Hi, I'm not the LaBouffe rep. Actually, I'm Patty Rabin from Top of the World School, and I'm taking over for Mindy tonight. She had to leave early, and she just wrote these notes for me. I wanted to start out by saying El Moro and TOW have both done Read Across America and had fantastic. I saw pictures from El Moro's site, and they looked like so much fun. We're going to steal their ideas for next year, but we did pretty well too, and we really had a good time doing that. We had a great setup where both schools, everyone dressed up in Dr. Seuss costumes, sort of your favorite character. So that was a load of fun for the kids, and the kids got to dress up too. We are now gearing up for Jogathons. They're coming up, big fundraiser for both schools. And I wanted to mention, I just read that the elementary school band just won an award in the Patriots Day Parade, and it's so adorable if you haven't seen Mr. Hartford walking around playing a drum and a trumpet and having these little kids follow him trying to march along with him. They're just adorable. And we also had Thurston in the high school. Both had their bands march at Patriots Day. I don't know if they won anything though. I didn't see anything about that, but they're awesome. I was really impressed with them. And the high school has begun meeting with counselors and make decisions about registration for classes next year. So that's about all she wrote.
Thank you, Ms. Brother. Margaret?
Margaret Waters, CSEA. First of all, we have our sunshine letter in your board agenda, and we look forward to that moving forward. We already have dates on the calendar, so we make sure that we finish this year with ratification. That's one of our priorities. We also have dynamics of change, as you are well aware, in our labor representation, and so we have some learning curves going on, so we want to make sure that we are way ahead on that process. In regards to the agenda items 20, 21, and 22, again, I can only give praise to Ms. Winston and to her staff. The reclassification committee is a process really where Chris Hammerquist and Wenmeyer and myself are on that from the CSEA side, and depending upon what group or series we're looking at, that administrative person or supervisor or the staff members, based on their requests or needs or for clarification, come forward. And it truly is a transparent process of really looking at the job description so that every classified employee here is working within what I shall say the district's expectations of what the position should be, so that we don't have any areas of, well, should I or shouldn't I? It's really a clarifying experience for the staff to know what their positions are, and for the district to say, oh, well, gee, maybe some people are doing things that aren't in this current job description. So it's really a very positive experience all the way around. Other things that have happened recently is that Elizabeth Phillips and myself attended an insurance university on Monday and Tuesday of last week that was put on by CSEA. And it was an incredible workshop. I have said to people, it is the most informative workshop that I have been at with CSEA in the 10 plus years I've been involved. Very informative information that we can take back to the insurance committee or to Ms. Winston, and again, ask for information about things that are happening so that all members are really informed of what's happening as we move forward into the world of all the changes that are happening in insurance. So I thank you very much for those opportunities and look forward to starting our negotiations.
Thank you. Do we have anybody from Boosters PTA School Power tonight? School Power, I saw you back there hiding.
So we are,
Mrs.
finishing
Renagi,
up.
we need you to please step forward to the microphone since we're
Very,
on,
very good.
since we're broadcasting.
Oh, I don't know about this.
I think a tall, wonderful young man takes after his mother a lot, so I'm sure you will do us proud.
Thank you, no pressure. So we just completed our teacher grant process. The deadline was Friday, and we were very happy to see a good turnout. 34 applications, I think, came in. It was very elementary school heavy, which is new and interesting. So we look forward to reviewing those and working with Darlene Messenger and all 4 principals in approving very innovative and impactful grants. We are 11 days, but who's counting, away from our dinner dance at Montage on Saturday, March 19th. We will be taking on our most ambitious Fund a Need initiative yet, and I feel like I say that every year, but we keep raising the bar. So very excited to try and transform as many classrooms at Thurston and the high school, and also the Thurston Library and the tradition of what's been done at the high school. So we're very excited about that, and we hope you'll all come join us. It's really relaxing at School Power right now if you want to stop by and put up your feet. Thank you.
Any other organizations tonight? I think I'll move to board member comments. Jen, anything to that?
Sure. Just want to say that the Citizen High School PTAs, I think I attended since the last meeting, and the principals are really using that opportunity to share a lot of information with parents, which I think is a wise use of that time. And we seem to always struggle with who gets all the information when. And both of them were, at Thurston they were addressing social emotional presentation for the parents, and the 2 counselors made that presentation, had a lot to present and a lot to share with the parents on everything that they're doing for the students. And then at the high school, Lisa Brackus was really providing information on new classes and the registration process, and also sensitive to the recent issues, making sure that she was sharing with the parents that they are scouring every publication that goes to students so that there is no cross information that goes out on classes, what's offered and what's particularly with the weighted and non-weighted classes. That they were really working diligently to accomplish that and to get the information out to the students and to the parents on the new courses and the prerequisites, if there are any for those classes. At the DLAC meeting, again, Lisa was there to present, our employee was there to present, and it was all on social emotional again, which I think is probably information that those parents have not been in a position to receive as much as other parents have, just by the language barrier. And she gave a very long presentation, and I could see the charts, but I could pick up a little bit, it's fast. But that's, again, and they had a little celebration for Yadi before because she had the baby, but she's having a baby. And that was it. And then I want to compliment Amy at the drug and alcohol meeting. She shared, we've gone now so many years of work that that's a quarterly steering committee meeting, but when combined with the social emotional, that task force is working right now to define what's being done and what needs to be done, because those really interrelate. And so instead of having separate meetings, it'll be one meeting, and they will meet together and work on those issues. At the PTA Council meeting, it was acknowledged what Kathleen Fay has been doing with registering the 18-year-olds at the high school and taking that into the classes, and we're kind of a pilot district for that in the county, and seeing how that goes. And I think she also provided in that Now You're 18 publication that comes out, the legal publication. I know you referenced it a few years ago, and it's really an eye-opener to students to realize now they're an adult. It's like
They get into a lot of trouble.
Right, a lot of trouble. There's a lot of rules and a lot of laws that apply to them, and it's like they're not calling mom and dad. I mean, so I think it's really really good that we're bringing that into the school, but also the voter awareness. I know I made a comment to them that just from the things I've done over the years of running for this position, that it is really amazing the people that don't register to vote. And out of those people that do register, then there's always a relatively small turnout. So I think if we can start with this really focus and emphasis, not only just on registering, but on the importance of it, the responsibility and the preparation that it takes to make informed decisions, that it really extends PTA out into doing something I think that will have, I hope, a lifelong impact as far as convincing students that it's really a good thing to do, and it's actually their responsibility. And I just, say we've emphasized growing our music program, and the 3 bands in the parade were really good sized bands, and they performed well. I mean, it's just, it has paid off. The elementary band, and he's right in the middle. When they march along, he's right in the middle. And it's very rewarding to see that, and to see that we've provided that opportunity for the students at all those levels, and they've taken it up. And obviously, parents can provide music lessons on their own, but to have that and to have that band and be able to go in a little local parade and march, it's great. I would just feel that I want to acknowledge, I think Ken and I commiserated over some recent passings of people in the community that have been very involved over the years in schools, and it seemed like a lot came at once. Mark Pitts being one at a young age and with children still in school, but himself a graduate of the high school. Gail Converse, who very involved in the community. Both children went through school here, and she worked many years for the district and was a dedicated employee and a loyal employee. And then one that I know of, because I'm at the other end of the youth spectrum, but Nick Herbert, who lived right near the high school, who graduated and was a valedictorian when he graduated. His children grew up here, went through school here, and I believe one has moved back, if they are still here, and has kids in the high school and in the surfing program. So he had grandkids in the high school, but he lived right near the school, and he, over the years, he was a teacher himself. I can't remember what school he was in.
He taught at Newhart. My husband taught with him years back.
He taught, and also did a lot of refereeing, so I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol?
I cannot follow Jen.
Dee?
Let's see, I really want to add on to Jen. I really appreciate registering the 18-year-olds to vote, and being a big presidential election year, it's a perfect year to get people excited about voting. And I know also when I was running, just being shocked at people thinking they couldn't vote because they had children in the district, or people thinking that they couldn't vote because they didn't have children in the district. And I would love to see a little more civics education this year. The bands in the parade were great. They're my favorite part. I attended the CSBA meeting, and Julie Adams was a speaker. I know Victoria also got to hear her at her conference, and if we ever have the chance to bring her, she's incredible. Lots of neurology, but also, a lot of talk about the adolescent brain, but other things too. Like, one of the things I took away was she said when she first started teaching, she would give a test and, students did well or they didn't. She went on, and she didn't think it was right to ever redo a test, but she totally changed her thinking, because what are we doing? We want kids to really learn. So she revamped all that and was very open to having students retake tests after they'd studied or had a little more time. Let's see. I went to listen to the school garden ladies, Kelly Osborne from Top of the World, and Molly Zufli from El Moro, and they both showed slides and talked about their after-school gardening programs as well as their during the school day gardening programs, which Top of the World has every teacher involved, and they're using all the next generation science standards. They're getting out kids outside, it's hands-on, kids are smelling being outside. I love it. I also, let's see, where did they present? They presented at the Congregational Church, Presbyterian Church. Yeah. let's see, I also, had a chance to go to the CIF girls soccer game, but also the CIF boys soccer game here. And what was fabulous was the gym was packed. Usually there was hardly anybody there. And so many people from the community came that didn't have students in school, or they had young kids. I had a lot of young kids around me that were all excited. So I love that community spirit. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
I just need to apologize to both the elementary schools for missing Read Across America. I was planning on coming, but then I got to pretend like I was a grandparent for 3 days, and gotta admit, it was awesome. So I had responsibility for a 3-year-old, and I was really thrilled. And I also would like to mention Mark Lewis. His coaching is such a testament to what he spoke about, which is balance. His own daughter is an incredible dancer. Those girls behind me all have outside lives. He practices what he preaches, and I just think that is so important for us to remember and to appreciate and to, at some level, celebrate that he has a successful team, and yet he understands that these are young people who need to have that ability to explore and change and just participate in life as a whole. So I just I didn't want to say it while he was here just because it was too crazy, but I want that on record. Thank you, that's it.
Okay, I have no comments tonight. Our superintendent.
Yes, I would just like to note the artwork on the wall here and thank the principals and the teachers for continually providing artwork for us to display here in the boardroom. I think it is a nice way to honor the really fine efforts in art and visual and performing arts, as we saw in the parade of our teachers and our students. And speaking of the parade, it was very fun. So I was like, oh, the parade. But it was very fun to walk as part of a group with Laguna Beach. And it was very fun to see the kids. They were also very proud of their, the groups that they were with. The bands were great. And I got to walk with Rotary as well as Rotarian. And it was just very fun to celebrate the small town spirit of Laguna Beach. It was, I can't remember, one of the ladies from Rotary said to me, because she's kind of new to town, she said, she's from the South, I tell my friends it's like a coastal Mayberry. It was very cute. And I also wanted to reiterate what Jan and Dee commented on, which is the voting, because one of the primary reasons public schools exist is to produce informed citizens. And I think we do a very good job of that. We educate our students so that they can think, analyze, argue about things, compare, and ultimately, they get to practice being an ASB in 5th grade and middle school and high school. But it's the big leagues when they actually are 18 and get to vote in a national and local election. So I too very much appreciate PTA support and advocation, is that a word? Advocating for, and I know the high school's been very on board with this, getting our 18-year-olds registered and aware. That's it for me.
Thank you. Cabinet members, Dee?
No comments.
Darlene?
The parade was fun. It was fun to put on the red, white, and blue and walk in the sun. And our band looked amazing. I think the uniforms were new, but they looked sharp. Really good. And those girls were so fun. We wanted to go up and march with the girls that were dancing. On a serious note, on another note, I wanted to just share that we're starting to work on our summer school program this year. It will be almost 5 weeks so that we can really make a difference. But we want to make sure it's a motivating experience for our kids, and we also are using it as an opportunity to further pilot our STEM scopes and FOSS kits, which come with a curriculum and an online piece. So our summer school theme will be something like STEM across the curriculum, or STEM in literacy and math, or something like that.
God, that'll just get me hot. I can't even jump on that like you wouldn't believe.
You need the title,
because that is just not gonna get anybody.
I know. Theme, I didn't say title, theme. Sorry. So you can come up with a cool theme.
You need me.
Well, I know. You're great for that. That's really helpful. So anyway, we think it'll be way more fun for kids and it'll take a lot more. So that'll be June 26th through July 29th. I think those are our dates at this time. Dustin has been working with a team of teachers, volunteer teachers who are ready, who are early adopters and ready to dive more deeply into NGSS and begin the implementation of some STEM, and they are piloting, in fact, just 2 weeks ago, they received these materials from the STEM scopes and FOSS, and so they have hands-on materials with online resources, et cetera. So that's our way of beginning to have teachers experiment with things and start to look at what does this look like, and start to share with their peers in their professional learning communities, and have more of a ground roots movement as our teachers start saying, I want to do more of this, I'm ready for this. We've kept them awfully busy with math and writing, so we're trying to keep that load as low as we can, but let the early adopters continue to move forward. Probably, we have one here, which probably does everything. Also, we have just been, I wanted to also talk about the middle school. Jenny is moving forward, I'm sure she's been sharing with you, and reinvigorating and growing her STEAM classes. One of her STEAM courses will be the forensics unit that Michelle Martinez has been doing. And our other teachers, Carl will be teaching on the wheel, and Jesse will be teaching the other STEAM class, and we've given them a resource called STEM 101, which is a series of really powerful units already prepared that they can begin to start playing with. And they have elements of science, technology, engineering, and math. So they'll be building a more coherent program. And you know already about the high school, all the multitude of classes that the teachers have been adding and getting really excited about. Kids are really interested. I understand the introduction to engineering has 20 students already, and that's an elective for next year. So that's exciting. That's what we're hearing so far. And then our ELA Adoption Committee is working really hard to understand all the elements in the framework about what should a high quality English language arts and English language development program look like, which is very new, where they've integrated both of those sets of things. We spent a day today working together and going to the county office and really digging deeply into what are we looking for in a quality program, so that when we adopt something that we have to have for 5 to 7 years, it is the kind of program that we want. And the middle school was there, it's K-8. The high school teachers are beginning to, a large team of teachers went to the county last week to look at the ELA, ELD framework and learn about that, and they're very intrigued and they were very engaged, and they will soon be embarking on a process. You may or may not know that the high school has different requirements for adopting a program. They do not adopt a state adopted, but they have to go through their own process and ensure that they're meeting Common Core standards and other criteria. But it's a looser process, and it's a more homegrown process as well. So that's where we are.
Lisa.
Okay, so Anna and I would have liked to have been at the parade, but we were at the CalSPRA conference last week, including Saturday morning. And that's the California School Public Relations Association conference. So we got some really good information on crisis communications. One of the keynote presenters was the public communications official from San Bernardino City Schools. And so she shared her experience with the timeline of the events that happened there in December. So it was very eye-opening and helpful. So we're going to begin formulating our crisis communications plan, working with the safety committee in that process. But on a happier note, I'm happy to let you know that we were recognized with the Award of Excellence for our website. So that's the top award they give in the category of an internet website. And I know that Mike's not here tonight, but we want to honor the team that worked on that at a future board meeting. We had a team of not just Mike, but also our teaching and classified staff who supported that. And it was nice to get some acknowledgement for that.
Not just acknowledgement, first place, top award.
Thank you so much. I would like to then move on to section 12, which is the public hearing. I'd like to open the public hearing at 7:26. And this is a public hearing on Sunshine Proposal with CSEA for 2016 and 17. California School Employee Association, Chapter 131, Laguna Beach Unified School District's joint proposal for a successor collective bargaining agreement. Can I have a motion for approval? Or public hearing? Is there any comments on this from the public? Hearing none, I make a motion to close the public hearing. Sorry? Okay, just close it, okay. The public hearing is then closed, and now it is 27 after 7. Moving to number 13,
the consent calendar. Is there any item anybody wishes to pull?
A brief comment on B
Okay,
and M, they don't need to be pulled.
okay. Anybody else have a comment or anything? I know we have a public comment coming. No? Okay, Jen, you want-
Move approval.
oh, move approval, I'm sorry.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Jen?
You want the
Public first, or Sherry?
Hi, thank you for giving me the chance to address this. I don't know if it's specifically related to this personnel report, but I saw personnel reports, so I wanted to take advantage of making a comment. I wanted to address the counselor change at the high school, or the counselor transitions at the high school. I know that I'm in the alphabet of M, obviously, that has had multiple counselors over the last several years. In our eyes, we would count 6. So we had one freshman year, one sophomore year. There was, without trying to get too personal, there was less than confidence in the junior year starting off, because there were so many transitions between a new principal and and the transition of who was handling the course load or the master schedule in all of that, and then a brand new counselor who, when I addressed just a couple things that were just relevant to us, it was, oh no, that's not correct. I'm like, well, actually it is. You need to look at this. Now this year, and then I heard she was leaving long before it was ever announced. So in my mind, we discontinued, and because of the history that we'd already had that year, not super impressed. This year, I think we had a great counselor start us off. I had some very great conversations with her personally on how I felt from what I've heard of my alphabet friends, what she could do to really give people confidence. And I think she did a great job. I think she came out, she talked to people, she knew what she was talking about, or wasn't afraid to say, I don't know, let me find out. But now she's gone. And now we have
temporarily.
Yes, but it's temporary till the end of the year. So you have kids that are juniors and seniors that are
I
getting
just want to make sure you
scholarships.
knew that she wasn't
I know
released
that's
or anything
temporary.
like that, yeah.
But you have now, what you have, especially in this alphabet, is complete and total lack of consistency. There is nobody that has historical knowledge of any of these kids, other than what they read on paper. And we all know that paper doesn't always define the person, and they don't always identify the person's strengths, weaknesses, or does it allow them, the counselors, to get to know the nuances. I know that the counseling department has a huge load just to address the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. You still have all these kids that don't even hit a tier yet, that might be slipping into this tier program because they're not getting the reach out. I know that I've been writing some emails about some technology issues of maybe how we can flag some kids that even if their regular grades show that they're okay, what does their day-to-day grade look like? That's a lot more telltale than what is your final grade. What's that kid struggling with along the way? So as you guys are looking at personnel, especially at the high school, I would really encourage you to not only bring in additional staff in the counseling department if they're truly that loaded, but to possibly consider the idea of having 2 counselors for every alphabet. Maybe one that handles the academics, one that handles the emotional, or some kind of combination. So that if one does have to go on leave, if they're sick, if they're out, if they're anything, that there's not such a gap. Because those of us in this M alphabet don't have a lot of confidence that we have anybody to go to that's following up and being consistent and not dropping the ball. Because a lot of balls were dropped this year just because they're new.
Okay, I would like to take it, if you're gonna, I'd like to extend 30 seconds more if you just finish your thought.
Thank you. She did a great job, but if she's leaving and she's trying to get a learning curve of what's our school like, what's the client like, what is my student load, what are their issues, and then they're gone, there's no extra support. And a temporary does not do the same thing, they're just checking boxes. It doesn't matter how good they are. So maybe think about, as you're thinking about what kind of staffing do we need in the counseling department at the high school, maybe think outside the box, and that's one of my favorite expressions. Why do we have 1 for each alphabet? Why not 2? How many do they really, what do they do, and what are they not getting to each and every day because they don't have the time? Because that's not giving a good service to our kids. That's what you guys pride yourself on, and that is where you are really falling short right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jan, do you have a comment as well?
I just had a comment, I've made this comment in the past, a couple of assistant coaches being hired that are fairly recent out of school, and particularly one, I think it's just a couple of years, and just to pass it on to make sure that they get the kind of guidance and support they need from the head coach, because it's really very difficult for you to separate yourself as being one of the kids. And it can be successful, but I've also seen where it's been really dismal. And I wanted to make that observation. And the other is on the approval of the grant, the support for the Boys and Girls Club for the readiness program. I think that it's our responsibility to get some numbers for that each year, because we get like a verbal guarantee that like when I'm ready to get in here, most of them come here. I think that when that started, the idea was that those were kids that would come to school here maybe before it changed, when it was at the Elmore site. And I just think it's really important that we stay aware of how many do come to our district and for outside. That's it.
And Jan, can I just say that that's on Irene and my radar to meet with them soon and to really define some parameters. It's sort of a historical process at this point, but we wanna, Irene wants to put a few more requirements or have some more conversation about that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any more comments by anyone on the consent calendar? Yeah, I believe we had a motion on the floor, am I correct? So all in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to number 14, a citizen request for agenda item placement, 2-year delay of SB 277, mandatory vaccination, Dr. Smith.
We have a citizen request from Christina Hildebrand, who is the president and founder of a Voice for Choice Advocacy. Is she here tonight? No, okay. This was her opportunity to address the board, and we were under the impression she was going to be here tonight, but seeing that she's not here, then we'll go ahead and move on to the next item.
All right, thank you. I will then move on to number 15, the second quarter report of the uniform complaints for the Williams case settlement. Emily Messenger.
Thank you. And the Williams requirement is basically related to 3 areas. One is the sufficiency of instructional materials and their alignment to Common Core state standards. Second is that our teachers are appropriately placed and credentialed. And the third is that we have no facilities complaints. We did have one complaint that has been resolved during this quarter. Both the district and the California Department of Ed found that there were no grounds for that complaint, so it has been dismissed.
Thank you. We're gonna then move on to action items. Number 16 is the approval of the California School Board Association, CSBA, 2016 Delegate Assembly Election. Dr. Smith?
Move approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Sorry.
Well, as you know, every year, the board has the opportunity to vote for representatives to the CSBA Delegate Assembly. And since Mrs. Perry is your representative to CSBA, I suggest that she talk with you about her recommendations for who you should vote for.
Okay. There are 8 positions and 8 people running, but one of the people running, there's a little controversy about. I have heard from 3 different people. And there is another gentleman who would like to be a write-in candidate. I don't know if I should say name.
Sure,
Yeah,
because
you
you
say
say
that.
Just receive it.
Okay. So the person that we have concerns about is John Briscoe from Ocean View District. And it seems that he is a little bit difficult to work with and it's hard to get things done. The gentleman from Tustin Unified, his name is Lynn Davis, and I ran quickly around to try to meet these people at the, looking at their name tags because I couldn't call out. Anyway, I did not meet John Briscoe. I just heard about him from other people. I did meet Lynn Davis from Ocean View, who is the president of Tustin School Board right now. Seemed like just a fine gentleman. I did research Ocean View, as you know, is a small K-8 district in Huntington Beach, and 2 people on their school board are all already on this. So he would be the 3rd one from a little K-8 school. So even for that reason, I suggest that we write in Lynn Davis instead.
And you say he is from? Test.
But of course, I'm willing to listen to
You
any
did the research.
you guys have.
I'm confident in your opinion.
And you recommend the others that, because there's a couple other, well, there's one other new person.
Yeah, I didn't, I read through their things, but I didn't do more research on each person since there were 8 slots.
I would agree with that switch.
That's fine. Alright, all in favor?
Can I just read them?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so Dana Black from Newport Mesa, Lauren Brooks, Irvine, Judith Franco, Newport Mesa, Candace Kern, Cypress, Rosemary Saylor, Huntington Beach City, Francine Cinto, Tustin, Michael Simmons, Huntington Beach, and Len Davis, Tustin.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much for doing that research. Alright, moving on to action items. Number 16 is approval of the California School Board.
We did that.
We did that, I'm sorry. Number 17, approval of the positive certification of the second interim report. Mr. West.
Yes, this is the last interim report, it's the second. So we adopted budget first interim and second, and it's our last moment to reflect the changes in the budget before we go into our year-end closing and also the adoption of the next year's budget cycle. I added a couple slides here from different sources, and here's from the LEO's office, Legislative Analyst's office, and what they do is review the not only the economy but also the governor's budget that's coming out. This one particular slide that I found pertained more to us than most of the items. This one is the assessed property value growth, and you know that we're highly tied to that, and we especially look at the secured property taxes. You can see that this follows pretty much the upswings and downswings of the districts as it's seen over the years, and it's projecting about a 5% projection in property tax growth coming in the next year. This one here is, I attended the Saddleback College. They had their second annual South Orange County Economic Report. They did have some elements I did put in some updates. It's kind of Laguna Beach and then some of the things. Here are the major findings that they wanted to share with the surrounding areas in South Orange County. One of the economic growth they felt would range in the area of 2 to 2.5%. And it was important to know that this is not a forecast, they're not an economic forecast, as much as they're reporting what others have already forecasted or see in the income. Real estate prices will continue to rise, but inventories will be down. Transportation infrastructure needs to support economic growth. Talked a little bit about the 5 as going down through San Clemente in that area right there, that accidents in that kind of area can really backlog this whole region as far as commuting and economic growth. Population is getting older, which will affect the workforce. It's interesting. So we looked at the child population, and also the parent population. Those age groups declining in South Orange County, where the older senior group was growing. So that's a factor in the whole South Orange County area. And that definitely has an effect on how we see our demographics and studies as we look at the enrollment for our schools. Tomorrow's workforce needs to be trained to meet the middle and high-end jobs. And that was just a focus. They're obviously a community college running that, but it really is a focus is on the CT and the RLP type programs. Those are a couple of different presentations I saw that I thought would be relevant at the secondary report here that we have here. In the secondary report, we're not really changing property taxes from our adopted or first interim projections. We've slightly adjusted, but right now we're in the area of 7.37% year-over-year change, which is in line. We did have some adjustments in the unsecured and prior year tax level, but the change is minimal, and we'll see that in the next in the report. And then we made some adjustments to state and local grants, and we budgeted donations that have been received. And so as you look at your general operating fund on page 5 of 89 in the report, and you can see that the secured property tax change only was about $6,700 out of a $45.8 million line item. So there's not a lot of change in that area. But we do progressive, we don't budget donations all at adoption, we wait till we receive the majority of those and budget them at first interim and second interim, with the exception of the annual donation from School Power. Made some adjustments to facility projects that we took out, like the field projects that we haven't done because of the drought related to the top of the world and Thurston, in some of those, and reflected other changes and expenditures related to the donations. So this is the summary of the major categories that are listed on page 5. The general fund categories. So general fund revenue, property taxes makes up about 45.8 million, which is the major portion of the revenues, and we'll see that in the next pie chart that we usually do. Salaries for the employees and benefits, obviously we're a service organization, and so 40.9 million makes up the majority of that as well. So here's the revenue breakout. You can see that only dominated by property taxes. And here is the expenditures and transfers out. This in the non-salary has a lot of one-time items in the orange area, but the blue is primarily all ongoing. So. And here are the one-times. We're always tracking the ongoing versus one-time items. Now we've had significant one-time items last year, this year, next year. It's kind of in that 3-year process related to facilities and other types of events that we've had. But we have a lot of mandated cost reimbursements that came in from back years of the state Otis that helped us with these one-time items. Also, we've had the city contribution for the tennis courts and the pool phase 1 and phase 2 projects over the last couple of years, donations, and then we did a transfer from the OPEB Fund 17 for the OPEB program trust. And then those are one-time items as well. So you'll see the tennis and pool donations to OPEB. If we're getting revenue this one time, sometimes that's one time on an expenditure. It nets out, and that's why at the bottom of this slide we have the net one time of $2.5 million. And here is the chart here monitoring that. You can see like we're right on that line related to the one-time items versus the ongoing items. And so we're at this time we're asking to approve the secondary report positive certification that not only says that we'll meet our obligations for this year, but the next 2 subsequent years as you look at the multi-year projection. The multi-year projection is found on page
Page 51.
51, there you go. And following the multi-year projections, we have all the other funds too listed as well. So, any questions?
Thank you. Any public comment? Board comments? Oh, didn't we move approval? Move approval?
So moved. Second.
Any board comments on this item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dean. Moving on to number 18, approval of first reading of board policies and recommendation for second reading and approval. This is Dr. Smith.
We have several board policies for you to consider tonight. We looked at these at our last Superintendent's Board Policy Committee meeting, which was February 29th. And most of these, not all, revolve around school safety and how to address policies and procedures to make sure our schools are safe and that we have a way to follow up on inappropriate occurrences. And so starting with 18A, and by the way, at that meeting, I believe it was Kevin Carroll who attended. 18A is visitors, and this is a new policy, and we would like the board to consider this, reviewing this, making any modifications if you wish, and then bringing it forward for a second reading so that we can institute safety procedures for making sure we know that everyone has checked in and where they are and that they're doing it in a way to minimize disruption to the school.
Should we kind of clarify?
Yes.
We could approve these this evening, but yes, could we?
Absolutely, you could. Our board policy I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I did take, it's one of the board bylaws. You may waive a second reading and or require additional readings if you wish. And if you wish to approve this tonight, by all means.
And can we make suggestions for changes? And if we all agree, then approve them?
Yes.
Or do we get done for that?
Yes.
I think there needs to be an urgency to.
That's why, I couldn't remember any of these words,
I
that's why I
think
was
there
asking.
was one that they needed for the high school. I think there was
We were looking at the student use of technology.
That's
the one, yeah, that's the one.
So for A, unless there are any suggestions for modifications, we will roll this to the next meeting for a second reading. Okay. B is disruptions.
And I have
Can we wait 1 second? I only have a possible public comment on H and I. Does anybody have a comment on anything other than H and I? Okay, I just want to know. Go ahead.
Carol?
On the last paragraph, first sentence, to take out other unauthorized weapon and just say no weapon. Because I think when we're talking, the idea of a weapon was like a police officer had a weapon, right? But we're not, we don't have a list of weapons kids can bring, right? It'd be no weapons, and we all know if a police officer brings one, that they're authorized.
So she is
Right.
suggesting that
Say
the
again
last.
So that last sentence taking off other unauthorized, because we don't have any authorized weapons that can go on.
So it would say possession of any weapon or dangerous instrument is prohibited, etc.
So the first addresses firearms, so you leave in other, any other weapon?
No, you just say possession of any weapon,
Any
any dangerous instrument is prohibited.
And a dangerous instrument would be if you, if I took the pen and I turned it into a weapon, but it's just a pen, but I used it in a different intent, right?
Well, then, would you remove the written permission of school authorities if your premise is that they're not allowed, anyway, they wouldn't be allowed with written permission then either?
Well, I think that would be a concealed permit, but you could,
Well-
if you're assuming that that would.
Do we have concealed
There might
permit
be,
permission? I don't think.
Well, I mean, I
I'm thinking there might be an occasion where someone brings something to school, I don't know, I'll use something kind of outlandish, a scimitar for a social studies presentation. And then perhaps with a very, very dull blade that can't cut anything, but it could be considered a dangerous instrument. And then you would want written permission of the principal.
You might want to add a sentence that actually dealt with things that students might bring associated with presentations in the classroom. And that anything would need prior approval. Because when some of these laws first took place, there were kids in different places that were being expelled for, bringing something that was associated with a
Facsimiles
presentation,
of weapons.
because it was so emphasized at the start. They stepped back on that, so that it's reasonable.
Right.
I think it should be clarified.
Well, then that's clarifying if you're saying, I think that would be clarifying a list of what we're authorizing. I just couldn't find a list of what we
No,
authorize.
we don't authorize anything.
Right, that's what I couldn't find the list of what we authorized, so I couldn't figure out why we said unauthorized.
Well, because it gives you wiggle room, is what it does.
I would suggest, it's up to you all, of course, that it would be easier to strike without the written permission of school authorities and then just say possession of a weapon or dangerous instrument is prohibited. And then we would deal appropriately. It isn't a zero tolerance because there is really no such thing as zero tolerance. You have to use judgment anytime there's a situation. But I think that might be more to be stronger than trying to wordsmith some additional language.
Is this in here perhaps for those school districts that have their own police department, like the Life's district? So that there could be people with authorized weapons?
Because another thing I think of here, do martial arts classes sometimes have what would be considered dangerous things? And then do they, like, if
Do we
kids are
have
doing
martial
that, and
arts?
no, we don't, but I'm saying that, if a kid at the high school
Yeah.
brings it to school.
Oh, I see.
And
elementary
is going to a
school,
class, going to a class afterwards, and then is that, that's my only question is, I know nothing, less than nothing about martial arts, but.
What about a parent coming in for a conference that has some kind of
So that would be prohibited.
a weapon, but we don't really check on?
Well, just
What if they have a
don't have
carry
anything.
permit?
We have open carry.
Right, so even this says a possession of a firearm within 1,000 feet of any district schools.
I mean, it's the same thing, we tell them they can't smoke.
Authorized by
So
law.
that
So
takes
that-
that-
exception.
So that gives that exception.
Leave your firearm in your car.
I'm thinking that up in the Central Valley where there's a larger population, I can't remember which religion it is, but they wear that scimitar.
The Sikhs.
It's the Sikhs, yeah, and so that's the only thing that popped into mind for me, but I think that we're pretty strict about, even a pen could be a dangerous instrument if it's used in that way.
Anything can, steel toe boot, you know what I mean, like a
Steel toe
car.
boots, definitely.
Yeah, car, you know what I mean, but there are things you can
Right.
use, that makes sense. It was just I was looking for a place where a student could read this and go, here's my authorized list of weapons, because I have an unauthorized list of weapons. Right? So where do I go get the one? I'm trying to
They have it in here, in the things that came from, that you guys had in your policy meeting, other weapons and dangerous instruments, including knives, dirks, stun guns, and instruments that may expel metallic projectiles such as BB or pellets, are also prohibited on school grounds.
But it doesn't say which ones are authorized, that was the.
What about pepper spray or something like that?
That's not allowed.
No laser pointers, I looked up no laser, but there are things, we do list some things that aren't allowed to come, it just wasn't, those weren't weapons.
I don't think we can really come up with a list of what we would authorize, or we'd have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis, so we can either just strike without the written permission, or we can leave it and let them deal with it on a case-by-case basis. And we could talk about it in the board policy committee again, if that's
I
the
mean,
better.
I would just be possession of any weapon, blah, 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 or school-sponsored activities, period. That's.
Just take unauthorized, that you're saying.
And take out other of it, and then take out without the written permission of school authorities, and just say, it's done, period. Just, yeah.
And if they have a question about a weapon, and they
It's
say.
easy enough.
Yeah, because the
Right
kid
there.
wants to bring something to, history class, they can ask the teacher, and the teacher can say, yeah, go talk to whomever.
Okay, we will bring that cleaner, because there's not.
So you wanna bring that back for a second reading corrected?
Yes, with modifications, and you can discuss it again and see if it's acceptable.
Okay.
And then C, recovery for property loss or damage. As you know, unfortunately, we've had some vandalism at our schools in the past months. And so this policy explicitly states that we want a safe and secure learning environment, and that we will expect people, students, or their guardians or parents to reimburse the district if they have damaged our property.
So we've had that expectation and we've enforced that before, but there's not been a policy that addressed it.
Right, it's the law, so that we can do it, but this actually gives us a policy. Is this one okay as is for second reading? Got that, Victoria? D, certificated personnel, I will have Lisa speak to the personnel ones.
So D, E, and F are revising the policies or replacing the policies that we have in place. In 4100, the old policy is now incorporated into a number of other board policies. It has a lot of policies all in one, so those have all been split out. And we are replacing it with a general policy, since it's the 4100, it's the first policy in the series. It just outlines who the policies in that series, align to. So in the case of 4100, that's certificated personnel. And it just outlines some general policies based on ed codes in terms of duties, performance evaluations and things like that.
So are you addressing them separately or kind of all together?
I can keep going. I mean, generally they're the same.
I had a question that was between 4100 and 4200. Just on the wording, it'd be the second paragraph in each one. The 4100 says in accordance with law and negotiated agreements, and 4200 says it's collective bargaining agreement. And I wondered why those were different. And should they, if there's not a reason for them to be different?
They really don't need to be different, we can make them the same. I would recommend maybe
Collective
put
bargaining
both.
agreement is the overriding, isn't it?
Right, law sets the baseline, your collective bargaining agreement needs to either meet that or can offer more protections to employees, but it can't go less than what the ed code sets. So collective bargaining agreements would be.
Same with 4100, change that to collective bargaining agreements.
Yeah, it already says negotiated agreements, but we can change it to in accordance with collective bargaining agreements, so that they're consistent.
So with those changes, are we comfortable moving forward to a second reading?
Well, are we going to 4200 right now, or speaking of that as well?
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
So on the second section, last paragraph, last sentence, so the job description shall be established for each position. And we often, or almost always put in by superintendent or their designee. Can we just add that so we're staying consistent in all these? Because it doesn't say who's gonna do that.
But VHR,
does it. That's what they're doing with
No,
the
but
reclass.
in all the other ones, it says that, so I'm just like, the same kind of consistency, I missed
I think in other cases where it says that, it's for something more generic, like enforcing something, so that it's superintendent or the designee. I mean, I would think that job descriptions are in her job description. It's.
Or I saw it somewhere else, and I just thought it wasn't in this one.
Lisa, can I ask another question while, going on to the 4300?
May I ask, or do we have closure on that particular suggestion for a modification?
Well, Lisa, could you look, I swore I read it in another one of these similar ones that said that, and I kind of thought
So in 4100 at in the second, let me see, I was just reading it, the second sentence says, the superintendent or designee, as Jan was saying, shall ensure that the duties, responsibilities, and district's expectations, et cetera. I don't see anything in particular about the job, writing a job description.
Which one are you looking at?
I was looking at 4100, which is
the second sentence,
113 and 114, I've been there twice.
Yeah, I was at the headquarters.
In the second sentence. And classified is a little bit different just because there are so many different classifications. So it tends to be more common to have job descriptions come before the board. Do you have a
If there's not a need, that's fine, I just had read it, thought, well, I missed the one on the collective bargaining one. Just looking for the similarities, going reading through all of them, it has the same.
I think one of the reasons it could be different is based on ed code. So I don't think that ed code requires that the superintendent or designee establish job descriptions, but if you compare that to 4100, I think ed code probably does. I would know unless I look specifically at it, but I'm guessing that it says that it's the superintendent or designee that must ensure duties, responsibilities, et cetera. That would be my guess.
It's absolutely fine, I was just looking in step when one is reading it, or putting the similarity throughout.
Well, I'm fine either way, if that's something that you wanted to add.
I don't feel strongly about it.
Okay, we'll leave as it is. Ready for a second reading, and then Jan, you wanted to speak to 4300?
Well, I just got confused on these back ones, Lisa, that it was being deleted.
Yes.
Because it seemed to me that on 4300, that it was referencing administration and supervision, but the backup is for classified.
Right, so one of the things that we're in the process of doing is realigning our section. So 4100 in the CSBA guidelines refers to certificated employees, 4200 pertains to classified, and 4300 pertains to management. So we're trying to get in line with that. And so you'll see like the one that we deleted for 4200, or that we're proposing to delete, is unrepresented certificated. So right now we have different categories for unrepresented and represented, and when really the ed code applies to both equally, and it's the negotiated agreement that provides those possibly additional or different protections for the represented employees.
And even though this only says hours of employment, I mean, what we're replacing it with is
Right.
totally different.
Right, because again, it's I'm not sure what the intent was in organizing the board policies in this manner prior. But we're trying to align them so that 4100, 4200, 4300 have the same general purpose for each section.
And so on this new 4300, it's on the third paragraph, senior management of the classified service. So that is only classified management?
That paragraph applies to classified
Okay.
management. The entire 4300 section applies to both classified and certificated management.
Well, now, that's clear to me now, but is there, I guess it will be clear to anyone who looks at these that it's for everything?
I think once we reorganize everything and label them, because if you look at the top, it's administrative and supervisory personnel, which would cover both.
Okay, thank you. We ready to move that forward for a second reading? Okay, is that Victoria? Right, EP 5131.5 vandalism and graffiti. I'm not sure why we say, oh, never mind, okay. So this one again is a way for us to follow up on instances of vandalism and graffiti. And it's pretty specific, basically, students who commit vandalism or graffiti on school grounds shall be subject to disciplinary action, including but not limited to suspension or expulsion in accordance with board policy and administrative regulation. And if reparation isn't made, there are certain things we can withhold. But again, we would do this on a case-by-case basis, depending on the severity and the responsiveness of the student and family. Since you're bringing this up again, I don't know what the status is with the city, but I know that it's easy now to take a photograph or something, but the last go around when there was a lot of tagging done throughout the city, and there was a lot there's a lot of gang stuff going on. San Juan boys, couple of, and the Dana Hills had, Irvine, I think at that time had 17 identified gangs. So they really wanted, the law enforcement really wanted to see it right away. And I don't know what that status is of that now, if they just want a photographic record, but they were really trying to track down the groups, and they were really trying to see who was coming in and who might be on the facilities as far as when it was related not just to the vandalism, but also to gang-related vandalism. So I don't know if you could find that out, I think it'd be good to know that.
Are we sharing photos of the vandalism or graffiti at the high school or any of the schools with PD if necessary?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was my long-winded question. If they're still interested in that, I mean, at one point, they were really interested in it because they were actively trying to.
It's a very good practice because it's part of gang suppression and then just keeping a track on who they.
And I've seen it around town on an uptick again on lots of things around town.
No, absolutely. Any time we have any vandalism whatsoever, we take photos of it, get the police involved as soon as possible. And they also will take their own photos, but they'll also use ours.
Because there's
if they miss
signatures,
something.
I mean, there are certain signatures and.
Okay.
Regardless of the any gang things, it's just I assume we take photos right away because the first thing you want to do is clean up before the students get here. I know, so I guess that's just a timing issue. But we do take photos and then we have that and then clean.
Absolutely.
You guys should say something this week, I think, in your update about the intention of harm related to some vandalism. Sometimes it's not just destructive of property.
It's threat related.
Well, there could be, there could be more serious types of vandalism that we have to deal with too as well.
Did you have somebody who wanted to speak to this one or was it H?
Not this one, it's H and I coming up, and I will,
So we can.
as you read that, I'm gonna have the public comment first, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. May I just clarify that we're good to bring vandalism and graffiti forward for second reading?
Yes. Yes. Okay, now we do have H. Dr. Schmidt?
Positive school climate. This is a way for us to, it corresponds with our other policies that we're bringing forward tonight. And what we have in place, we have our PBIS programs, we have caring and kindness programs, we have our PALs, we have link crews, we have various ways to establish a positive school climate. And this policy basically confirms our district-wide commitment to that, to the principles of equality, human dignity, mutual respect, fairness, honesty, and citizenship. And that we want to build those characteristics in students, and that we want students to feel connected to our schools, and so we will encourage things such as Link Crew, extracurricular activities and after-school programs, which are a really important way to connect our students, and recognizing student achievement involving our family and community in our schools.
Thank you, and I believe Sherry Morgan has got a comment she would like to make.
Sharon, I have pictures for you of the jewelry.
Oh, great, thank
My
you.
kids have a few pieces.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for addressing the positive school climate. I wanted to add, because some of the comments that you're making in the policy were like an educational and social environment where students can feel safe, take pride in their school, positive interpersonal relationships among students, between students and staff. That kind of goes back to the counselor issue, because it can't be positive if they don't know each other. So some way to overarch that whole department to give them more support to help our kids. But you also talk about the principles of equality, human dignity, fairness, honesty, and citizenship. I would love to see, and I've been talking to many parents, and I've mentioned it here before too, the suicide and depression speaker that came, that talked to the teachers, the parents, and the kids. I've heard nothing but great feedback of how that really opened up a lot of touch points. And it would be great in the opposite side of this social and emotional program that you're launching, where it's still very focused on staffing and supporting and making sure that we can embrace all these kids that really need it. Do something to prevent it. Bring in these speakers on a more regular basis. Do a speaker series. If the kids, the teenagers, we say, you had one here that said, the school expects the kids to behave appropriately. Well, we also in the same breath say that they lack a frontal lobe cortex that's not developed till they're 25. So how can you sometimes make a good decision with a teenager? Sometimes it just doesn't work. So, the speaker series was so great, and it would give them the power within themselves to access tools that the district is bringing forward. Have somebody come in about organizational skills. Have somebody come in and talk about how 98% of the kids that you're looking at really don't think that they have their act together. They're just pretending. I know that Jerry Whiteman said that. And I love that, because I think that's so relevant, because all these kids stand around thinking, I God, I'm so cool. They're not. They're just pretending, and it's okay, and they don't know that it's okay. So how can, if they're not listening to the parents, supposedly, according to some of the experts, then let's give them the tools that they can draw from. Middle school, high school. I mean, I know you have great programs in there that the teachers are using at the elementary school in the right language, but give the tools to the kids. Give them, and that would be a way to really embrace the whole student. It would give you a way to give the kids tools to use on their own. It would balance the social emotional program of not just the staffing, but how do we keep these kids out of this tier 1, 2, 3 program to begin with? And can they make better decisions if we arm them with, what does technology addiction look like? That's I want to address that in the next one. But what is how do you balance the stress of school? I mean, all these scholarships that these kids are writing right now as seniors, of which we're deeply involved in right now, addresses a lot of that. So how can we bring those tools in to give them better resources to utilize going forward? Because right now we're just cramming all this information down their throat, but not giving them the tools to balance it. Thank you.
Are we good for a second reading on that one?
Okay. We'll then move to number I, the letter I.
Okay, student use of technology. As you all know, technology moves very quickly, and we put a policy into place back in 2012, and that was actually a policy that all of the school districts in the county worked on to put together, because it was kind of the onset of really having technology be ubiquitous and having students have access. And so this policy is an updated policy to replace our previous policy. We looked at this in our committee, and we had a really good discussion that touched on a lot of areas about technology, including the fact that some young people get addicted, and adults get addicted to technology use. This policy is before you for a first reading, and I think, Carol, you had mentioned or suggested a couple of edits to me when I spoke to you on the phone.
I had,
Page 127.
on page 127, number 1, after the second sentence, or could be construed by a reasonable person, because a reasonable person is what we have in law for harassment, right? That's construed by a reasonable person. So
Looking
that's
at
sentence.
number 1, I'm not finding.
So is that is threatening, obscene, disruptive, or sexually explicit, or that could be
Second paragraph,
construed.
She's suggesting an addition.
Addition by a reasonable person.
Okay, by a
Could be
reasonable
construed by a reasonable person. As harassment.
I mean, that's the law anyway,
Right.
but we could add it, I don't see any problem adding it.
And in a harassment,
The standard is something like this, this criminal standard. I guess the civil standard too is reasonable person standard.
and I think Lisa wanted to explain that to me in one of the meetings before, that for harassment, when harassment says by a reasonable
applies
person.
to the personal.
So that kind of tied it back to the kids as well. And then the other one would be on the number 3, and the third sentence, adding student, staff members, or other person with intent to threaten, intimidate, harass, embarrass, or ridicule that person.
I'm gonna add embarrass.
I wanna add after harass, and probably I would suggest if that one's okay, that in number 1, after harassment, we add embarrassment, comma, or disparagement.
Yeah.
And Carol also suggested, and I have noted them here, some grammatical, just things are left off, like semicolons and period. So, yeah, those are helpful to help us read. So if those suggestions are acceptable, then we'll go ahead and bring that forward for second reading. And you had a speaker on this, I believe.
We do.
Talking about
Sure,
periods,
Morgan.
and all this and what to.
Those would be semicolons with a period after number 4.
After password.
Yeah.
And the word and 3.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So I wanted to thank you for being, sort of breaking out some of these and being more specific, like using another person's password. I know that one's, that one is being used a lot, so hey, here's my password. I mean, one of my kids came home today and said, oh yeah, I heard so-and-so was looking at somebody else's grades because they they figured out their password. And now they're like, oh, you're dumb and you didn't get this. So, I mean, it's really rampant, and I don't think you could put this policy in. I think you could be even more specific and really help cover everybody. But with that being said, I want to address, and this kind of goes back to also positive school climate. And again, I know I've been sending emails and things like that, but I would really, really love to see you guys as an embracing of this technology, of getting rid of the discrepancies of, is it a school-owned property or is it somebody else's property? Because right now, you've got some kids on Chromebooks and some kids on their own devices. The kids that are on their own devices, they don't have to fall into some of this verbiage, because if they're on their own device, they're in the classrooms, they're gaming in the classrooms, they're shopping in the classrooms, they're doing all of these different things, and I can verify it, but I'd have to use names. Nobody wants me to use a name, but it is happening. The teachers know that it's happening. And if the kids are on their own devices, how can a teacher possibly teach and then create a positive school climate if all the kids know, oh, well, I can game in here, it's okay, because they're faster than our eyes to get those screens to slide and things like that. It's happening right under the teachers' noses. I know there was an incident once where there was a teacher, a student aide, and somebody was in visiting the classroom and walked around and said they still saw somebody doing something they weren't supposed to do in class, and that's 3 people in the classroom. With the Chromebooks, the teachers can access and see what the kids are studying, or looking at. They can shut it down if they need to. Some way to give the teachers more power to teach and less time to have to babysit. Because it's becoming a huge problem to the fact that our kids aren't learning. I would love to know the difference of the GPA from when we allowed the kids to bring their computers to when they were doing everything by hand. And I did get, and speaking of just using technology, there's a couple of points that somebody sent to me that are really, really important, and I want to share them with you. The Bring Your Own Device has allowed each student to have better resource and research capabilities. However, online lessons alienate students as they operate in their own little isolated worlds. Now, my 3rd grade daughter just had kids over where they wrote a play, They were all in Google Docs writing and playing at the same time. You could see who was writing with what, and they also had a chat screen going on over here. So to me, that was technology at its finest and how we can teach our kids to do that. But it doesn't take away from working collaboratively in groups. School was where the kids were supposed to be developing their own listening, discussion, and verbal skills. If they're all interacting just on computers, are they really learning that? And are we giving enough time in the classroom for the kids to continue to develop their verbal and social skills? Or are they becoming, in this vacuum of technology?
And again, I want to extend you 30 seconds more, even though you're
Thank you. Speaker programs are very important. It helps the kids lift themselves up out of the technology. It helps them have to pay attention if they have to put it away, if they have to listen to the teacher. And also if they have to listen to the teacher and take notes with their hands and write it on paper. There are still many, many studies that show the eye-hand coordination does a lot better to retain the information than looking at it on a computer. So I would encourage you to even take this policy another step further, get rid of the personal devices, bring in Chromebooks for everybody, let the teachers teach so the kids will pay attention, and then you've got a lock-solid way of how to discipline the kids if they're doing something wrong without having this ambiguous, well, it's my own device, I can do whatever I want, because they all know how to hack the system and they're doing it every single day. Thank you.
Dr. Smith, there is something I thought about we could do on page 126 to address what Ms. Morgan was saying. On the last paragraph, you probably put it in somewhere in the second sentence where it starts, students shall be informed that their use of district technology, and we could talk about the district's Wi-Fi.
It's in this agreement, the agreement says includes computer network, Wi-Fi, blah, 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 and then it says if you're using your own devices, if you access our Wi-Fi, anything, you fall under our.
I was thinking just about the one she was talking about, she was talking about this one, I don't know if she was talking about all of them, so I was trying to find.
This goes along, you have to sign this to be able to do that.
Well, I do have a question about that. So if they access our Wi-Fi, what if they don't access our Wi-Fi? Does that policy prevent them from sitting there and gaming?
Yes, it does.
It
Still does.
Still covers it?
But it's a classroom rule.
Okay.
The teachers can say, put it away. The teacher can say, you may only access so-and-so. It's a matter of monitoring, staying on top of it.
We did have the discussion in policy about saying, we should just say, you're gonna use our Chromebooks, because there is is it a para, or what's the?
Yeah, we did talk about that, and then we talked about it with the principals, and the consensus was that students are very adept at using technology, and they can find a way to do the same thing on Chromebook as well. They can find workarounds, because it's their native language. And so, in my opinion, it's incumbent upon the teachers to have very engaging lessons, because then students aren't as apt to be distracted or to go off and access other things. I, had the opportunity to be an old college student recently, and students had 3 devices, their laptop, their iPad, if it was iPad, their phone, and various tabs up, and they were listening to the teacher, the professor, and they were working on something, and they were checking their social media, and they were texting. So it's not something that's limited to us, and I think it's something that students are gonna have to learn we are going to have to help students learn to navigate in order to have the highest quality learning experience. And we are not using technology exclusively. It's basically blended, so sometimes students are using technology, and other times they're not using technology. I personally would not advocate for I taught that online class. I didn't particularly like teaching it, and I feel like blended or actual traditional classrooms are superior than strictly 100% asynchronous online classes, but that might be because I'm not a digital native.
So you're talking about a class that you were taking that other students were doing
Yes,
those things?
yes.
So that
I was
would
a
be
student.
for the
I was in the doctorate program.
But I think that even though, seeing that you witnessed that, I think that the point that I'm concerned about hearing is that we at least need to pay attention to that, what Sherry's saying, and to at least find out from our teachers how big of an issue it is, and if they are spending a lot of time keeping that under control. And then what we need to do about that if they are, because I can see that it even though we would know it exists and they can do it, I think we still need to know how we probably knew that was going to be a downside, when we decided that we wanted to go to the one-to-one and because if we remember, it wasn't that long ago where we were trying to figure out what do we put in place so that they can't bring them in. Right. And then we want to switch to that, so now we're going to let them bring them in, but there are negatives to that. And I think just part of that is collecting the information on how big is that. Maybe it's bigger for some teachers than others, and maybe they need some assistance in how to manage that in their classroom. And there can be loss of grade points. I mean, there can be things that would really make a difference to the student. But I know from hearing about that at the college level that is addressed in a lot of class syllabus. That is given out by the teacher, and it will ding their grade, and the teachers do roam the room. So there are classroom
That's a
management
key.
skills.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been talking about it in instructional services about strategies. It's really about strategies for classroom management with devices, right? It's a whole new thing for us. So there was a wonderful speaker at the Google conference that I'd like to bring if I can in August, who did a whole, okay, close the lids. I mean, it's a strategy, it's on the board, close the lids, and everybody closes the lid, and then they do the interactive communication, and they do the group work, and then, so it's a very controlled, now we open our devices, we do this, we close the lid. So we're hoping to integrate some of that into our teaching with the teachers, some of our professional development, give them some strategies for that. And it really does involve a lot of walking around the room. It did anyway before, but even more so.
You're ordering pizza for lunch.
And then if you have students who have an addiction to gaming or gambling or something, and it really is beyond their control.
It is.
Shut the lid, right? And it's addiction, then it's like, how do the teachers then address that and how is that being watched and cared for? And it's the whole process. And speaking of student rules and being in syllabus, 6163.4, an exhibit on first paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
On page 126.
On page 129. Exhibit.
Okay.
We could add school rules to on this fourth, let's see.
So it says permitted district's discretion, blah, blah, second, set forth an applicable board policy to destroy new regulations, comma, school rules, comma, and its acceptable use agreement.
Right, and add school rules in there, because that ties back to kind of like what you were saying, Jan, on the syllabus, but in school rules, or whatever is there on that site.
Okay.
And then again,
And I would assume we would allow our individual teachers to establish their own classroom standards if they felt it was
would
needed
you
more
want to put
management.
syllabus? Would you want to?
Oh, no, I mean that they would do that individually, just as we did that before when we were at that point of not wanting them to have cell phones. There were some teachers that would collect them.
About
Other
classroom
teachers
and
did not
school
want to do
rules.
that, yeah. Yeah,
I like that.
Because I think they need to be able to have their own choice that works in their classroom.
Well, I think so, and I know from my children's experience, and they really, each teacher, you can leave stuff, just bring in your computer, you're not bringing your backpack, or you bring in your binder, but not your computer, or nothing, or they don't want anything. And so it's really interesting, each teacher, how they teach, and I like the fact that they have that autonomy to utilize the technology how they see fit for the lesson they have for that day, or for how they're in the classroom. On page 30, number 3, it talks about harassment again, so just on that second to last sentence, or we can add embarrassed, yeah. And then, on number 7, I brought up hack. And part of it is hack into the system to manipulate data of the district or other users, or for any other purpose. And I guess I really kind of wanted to find that, like, hacking is not something we want our students to do, and I know it. Right, so for any purpose, it doesn't just have to be to manipulate like a grade or, right, to
just learn how to do it.
Exactly, I mean, let's be having class in hacking.
Yeah, true.
And then again, semicolons after each of these, and then after number 8, 4, and then after number 9, the period.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, this modification, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
On page 132 for student enrollment, initially you were gonna report to find.
Yes, so Phil had a question about the phrase, it's under the parent section, that I understand that despite the district's best efforts, it's possible to
for the school to restrict access to all offensive and controversial materials. And then the phrase says, I agree to release from liability, indemnify and hold harmless, etc. She asked me to check to see if that's actually enforceable by law, because usually parents can't.
It's a good thing to check.
Yeah, so I
imagine it's the same as they used to say that when people would have like put on a race.
Yes.
And you always sign that.
Yes.
But bottom line is it's not gonna stop someone from suing you.
Well, when you
Well,
buy,
this is about
when you
going
buy a
to
ski
school.
ticket, when you buy a ski pass, you basically say if I run into a tree, I'm not signing it because I'm bidding.
But this is more like, I mean, we're requiring they have technology, so this is more, in order to go to school, you have to identify the school district.
I wonder if in the past, my recollection is, and I did forward this to Mark Russi, I haven't heard, it was just yesterday, so I haven't heard from him yet, but my recollection is that parents really can't waive the rights of their children, and so it'd be good to have clarity on this, one way or the other. And if it's okay to keep it in there, it maybe gives us some measure of, influence on it, or maybe it doesn't, but we can go ahead and make sure that it conforms with the law, and we can take care of that. This does not need to be board approved, this form, so we'll go ahead and take care of that, but we'll put it in the update so that you know.
Just in general, waivers of law are strictly construed against the people who draft them. Unless they're perfect in every way, and you can't go beyond what you can go beyond.
There's our in-house attorney right there, you would know.
And then the other comment I made about that is just the
It doesn't
children.
mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean you couldn't put it in there.
Right.
Right, no, I was just asking, like, is, you know,
If the other attorney that's not in-house.
Yes. And so then I also asked that on the top where the student sign thing, I understand not only privacy, but we also have the parent sign that they understand their child has no privacy. I thought because the parent's not signing that top part.
And then you also suggested that we strike after the last sentence under the parents.
Yes.
That we put a period after his/her access account.
Yes. So it's not just when at school setting, but.
Okay. Ready for a second reading on that one?
And Mark Russi will comment on those also.
Yes, and I will share that with
Can sorry to interrupt, can I share with you a comment that a student made to me as far as using technology and just when you're putting this together and considering also the Wi-Fi, because I heard somebody mention our Wi-Fi, our policy. A comment that a very smart student said, I give him credit for that. Furthermore, sites unauthorized for use during school time are already blocked on the school's Wi-Fi in accordance to their policies. Accessing other sites is in fact not unacceptable. It's not a school issue. And this is related to accessing a site at school on Wi-Fi that was not school related. So it's wormhole, I mean, there's little holes everywhere that the kids will find, and that's why I encourage you to maybe find something a little bit more permanent where there is it's a little bit more black and white, because they do access other sites, they do hack through the Wi-Fi, so it's just a constant.
And what I have found is every student, and I'm speaking as a former teacher, vice principal, and principal of middle school and high school, every student is junior attorney, so they always find.
Oh yeah, so this one's great too, he's pretty good.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, principals, you guys can leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, I'll send these to you if you want.
Thank you very much, I would appreciate that.
Jay, now this is just a deletion, so we're deleting the policy. So with that, can I have a motion to move A through J to a second reading with the changes we proposed?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, takes us to number 19. Permission to advertise an invitation to bidders in a general circulation newspaper for miscellaneous general contracting work based on unit cost on an as needed basis. Mr. West, you had it, or Mr. Dixon?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. This is typical of the bidding process. However, unlike many of the other bids that we do, this will apply to a broad range of projects. We have reviewed this with legal counsel, and it is common to use because there are very strict bid limits based on each project. Every time you exceed that bid limit, you must go through a formal bidding process, which requires to advertise in a newspaper of general circulation 2 weeks, and there's cost associated with that every time. we will award, if allowed, we can award this bid one time and renew it annually and use it for multiple projects. So we'll expedite some of our general contracting work for maintenance. It does not force us to use whoever is awarded this contract for all of our work, so we'll still have the same flexibility that we have now. But it will be something that we can use on all those projects that are above the bid limits for new construction or maintenance and repair. We can use it multiple times for up to 4 more years.
Any public comment on this, discussion? Move approval?
We did already.
We did that, all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Number 20, this is approval to create a position of journeyman, yeah, let's take this, plumber for 8 hours a day, 12 months per year, Lisa wants to do this.
Yes, so I just wanna say, Jeff's not last, So this proposal, we included a significant amount of background in the update regarding this position. And I'm sure Jeff could give you more specifics, but generally what we're proposing is to create a plumber position. We have extensive maintenance that's going to be required over the next several years. And based on how much right now we pay for contractors on an as-needed basis, we could see some significant cost savings by hiring our own plumber and supplying a truck and all of the equipment. So over time, it does save us a significant amount of money.
All right, and this is a cost-saving measure, as I understand it, because if I remember the discussion correctly that was had with Mr. Dixon, that we're spending a couple $100,000 a year in miscellaneous plumbing, am I right?
We are already over 200,000 this year.
Already, and it's only March?
Yes, and that's not project-based, that is reactive plumbing maintenance.
And I take it you feel that if this passes, it will be a very positive thing for the district, and it'll be more efficient and we'll save money at the same time.
Yes, sir. I believe that there is definitely a huge potential of dramatic money savings, but more importantly than that, we get to a preventative maintenance mode on a lot of our plumbing, which will also help reduce our water bills, because as we go through and do preventative maintenance on the valves and have less leakings and valves getting stuck open, we're able to tackle a lot of that in-house. And it's manageable with one in-house plumber for our 4 school sites, because we are fortunate to have our maintenance staff at each site as well. So as you pair up on larger projects, even at the big backflow repair and replacement that we had at Top of the World this summer, that only required 2 plumbers. One was a laborer, one was an actual plumber. So we would also develop in-house maintenance staff capacity to learn and be alongside this plumber. So it would help us generally throughout the entire department.
And there would be some upfront costs, correct?
There would be upfront costs. It would require a vehicle, and then of course your first year of stocking supplies and basic materials. And then beyond that cost, there's your traditional or your annual renewal of the materials needed for the preventative maintenance, and then also on a project by project basis, such as adding isolation valves or replacing backflows at the high school, etc.
Although you put in your backup that we would not have the markup on those materials.
There's at least a 15% markup that we get from plumbing contractors, which is common because they're having to bring it to the site, and you are paying for windshield time as well.
Do we want for sure to provide a vehicle if they have their own? If you found someone that have their own truck already, are you recommending that we still get one?
I would prefer to have it so that the district has ownership over it, so we can control it a bit better and do such things as put GPS and know that it's part of our property.
So you're not joyriding out to
And
Elmore,
just
like
maintain
Hollywood, whatever.
it properly, so we don't have a maintenance issue leading to an injury or something like that.
Right.
You'd have to reimburse them some kind of cost for their personal use of vehicle anyways.
I like the idea of GPS tracking it because.
Just cause.
Because.
It
would be signed.
Inspect it?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be assigned.
We have had those issues.
In the beach school district.
Yes, it would be clearly marked, and the GPS is also good for us because it allows us to, if we do have an emergency somewhere, we can give an estimated time of arrival better when we pull it up and see where our plumber is. It's something that I implemented in my last school
Be
district.
there in the next 4 hours, unacceptable.
Yeah, usually it takes a couple minutes to get from site to site, fortunately.
What are they doing in San Diego?
It's gonna be white cap then.
No, I had a couple other questions. I know I've asked you this all the time, but it wasn't, that you will either find someone who already has some other skills or you'll help them to learn some of those so that on that occasional day when there isn't a plumbing task, that they could do something else.
Absolutely. There's lots of maintenance requests and projects and work orders at each site. So if we ever came up to the day where there wasn't a plumbing related task, it would be quickly and easily filled with another task that we need done. A lot of it is just doing full-time preventative maintenance. Almost fills up the 8 hours right there per day. So if you add in any sort of minor projects or plumbing projects, I'm more than confident we'll have a full plate for whoever we can get on board to do this position.
So when do you plan to start this?
Yesterday.
We wanna have them on before the summer, so you
Okay.
guys can get on some projects, so we already have, we would purchase the truck probably in this fiscal year, hire somebody before the summer starts.
Okay, so I have a question a little bit on the other side. I just would ask that you, I've seen your spreadsheet stuff, so you track all this and can come back to us after the first school year to verify a lot of these things that you assume to be the case.
Absolutely.
Like the, the daily work. And then, but also, what happens when that person is out sick? And if that happens to coincide with something that's an emergency, and then you just would bring us that data. Hopefully
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen very often,
Yeah.
that those two things wouldn't coincide, and if it was just maintenance and preventative work, you could wait till they got back.
Right.
Just so that we have a real clear picture at the end.
And I think it would probably be better for us to bring that back it's quarterly. Because
Quarterly?
I think
Okay.
annually you get so much of a time that the law of averages, you may not get a true picture, where if we break it up into smaller pieces, we'll know how effective it's really serving us.
Thank you.
Seems like, because our buildings are old, we have plumbing issues, and if it's a big plumbing issue, we're still gonna have to bring on, Capital Beach Plumbing or something like that, right?
In most cases, no.
Oh.
That's why I mentioned that even our largest plumbing projects, we had one plumber and one laborer do all the work. So we would take that as our in-house plumber and our maintenance technician, so it would help them learn more about the plumbing trade and then assist the plumber with the work that needs to be performed. In other circumstances, maybe it might, but at least we would have offset costs where they would not have to bring maybe a full crew to help do this major plumbing project, and we would supply them with our in-house plumber or our maintenance technicians as needed. But yeah, as far as I've forecasted and seen, I don't see a big need to bring on an outside plumbing contractor for any of our major plumbing projects. It's more at the point that you have an in-house plumber, it's more about the labor to support the work going on, and the plumber is actually controlling what is happening with the project.
Okay, well, I like all the analysis that you did, and I really trust that this is the way we should go. I think it's important to have somebody who knows, like, where all the shut-off valves are. I also appreciate that they might be able to work with when's the best time to do things, because I know teaching next to the jackhammer going on doesn't work very well.
Yes.
And when you've set up, you don't know when they're coming. You spent your lunch hour setting up a science experiment, and it doesn't work very well. So the tough part, I think, is finding a person who works really well. You know, they're going to be around children, they're going to be around teachers. From my husband being a contractor, I know that a lot of plumbers are really focused on what they're doing, and that's all in their mind. And they don't really like all this other stuff, or, you know, they don't want other things going on.
You should use my plumbers are lovely.
I'm not saying that they're not nice, but they're pretty darn focused.
When you have a lift station.
Well, we can just maybe turn it into our maker studio.
There we go.
Just work with all the kids in the bathroom, teach them all about it.
That might be an added advantage.
But I know you'll work really hard to find somebody good. I just see that personality as being key.
Fit is always very important, and it doesn't just stop at the interview and selection process. I think it's an ongoing item for us in the department to make sure we're giving professional development and teaching the person about our culture. So that's something that we know is a big priority here.
Yeah, because most plumbers really aren't used to working with lots of kids.
Depends on whose house they go to.
Yes.
I was just thinking, if you had a big job, like these big valves you'll see in some of the water shutoffs and so on. If we could buy that ourselves as opposed to having plumbers bring it out, that would be pretty good savings.
That'd be a mass, that's tens of thousands of savings on each one of those valves.
Deal.
You need to, can I get a motion for approval?
We did already.
We did? Oh.
No, I don't have.
Some public comment,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That takes us to number 21, approval of revised job descriptions and reclassifications of CSEA positions and releases.
Okay, so we're making an attempt to bring you the reclass recommendations as we finalize them, so we don't have a big one all at once at the end of the year. So this is the first section that we finalized, and we have items 21 and 22 kind of go together. Because we are proposing a reclassification of the high school scholarship clerk. And reclassification refers to the job duties and the salary range, whereas hours are determined by the board. So hours is a separate item. Right now, this item is just focused on the job duties and the salary range. And so we studied this in a very in-depth manner. We actually brought the employee currently in the position in for an interview with the reclass committee and talked about some of the things that she's doing that really aren't reflected in her current job description. And this is a classic case of added duties as the position had expanded. And the more students you have coming to this person, the more there is an expectation that this person is going to be able to do these things. So you can see by the job description that there's significant additions to this position. And so our proposal in the reclassification process is to change the position title to something that reflects more of what that person does. So scholarship and financial aid specialist, because the financial aid piece is pretty significant. And then we would propose that the salary range be reclassified to a 33, which is an increase, but it aligns it with the college and career specialist in that same department. And you'll also see college and career specialist on here. The only change to that position is the education requirements. Because these positions are similar but working on different aspects, we thought they should both require a college degree. And so this change reflects that for the college and career specialist as well.
Move approval. Second?
So we really kind of discussed 21 and 22 together.
Right.
This is basically for the record, Lynn Gregory's position, right? So we moved approval for 21. Is there any further discussion on 21? All in favor?
Aye.
And on 22, we need approval on that.
Second?
Is there any further discussion on that? On this one, see none? All in favor? All right, number 23, we have a adjournment and approval. All in favor? Our next board meeting is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016, 6 p.m. at the Long Beach Unified School District Office Board Room. Oh, and we do have a special meeting on Thursday.
At 4 o'clock?
4:15.
4:15 at Elmore.
Thank you all. Thank you.